Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be the Do I Have That Other Book challenge. So I was toying around with the idea of doing this challenge, and then everyone who I'm subscribed to started doing this challenge, and I knew if I wanted to do it then I would have to do it before I watched any of those videos, because half of the fun is not knowing what the prompts are. So this is going to be me attempting to do it. I am not going to time it just because that just seems really anxiety inducing for me, and we're not about that. We're not about making obstacles like that. So I'm gonna attempt this challenge, and there's an extra little challenge for me because I have 3 bookshelves. Well, 4, but one's a mixed media shelf with DVDs and stuff like that. So one is downstairs. I'm going to try to not use anything from that bookshelf. I have a bookshelf in the other room that is my physical TBR, so I'll try not to use that either, just so I don't have to run from room to room. And then I have 2 separate bookshelves on each side of this room, because I don't know if you can tell from the background right now, but it's pretty much impossible to put any 2 pieces of furniture against the wall in our current bedroom. So I'm going to be ping-ponging between the 2 bookshelves that I have in this room, and I'll insert them here. I've got 2, one that's more fantasy, one that's more horror, and we'll just see how I do. So question number 1, do you have a book with a fox on the cover or part of the plot? Yes. Starting out strong with Survivor Song. I don't think a fox is actually a part of the plot, but there is a fox on this cover, which I remember because foxes are my favorite animal. So I get really excited whenever I see them on a cover of a book. I really enjoyed this. I know not a lot of people did. If you're looking for a horror book that's more sad than horrific and a very slower paced character driven book, this is a good book for you. Otherwise, I don't think you'll enjoy it, but I love pretty much anything that Paul Tremblay comes out with. The next prompt is, do you have a book that was published the year you were born or within a 3-year radius? Okay, I'm gonna date myself right now. I was born in 95, so I think my best bet is going to be my Stephen King bookshelf. So let me view a little bit. There it is. I say Stephen King bookshelf. It's my horror bookshelf, but it's mostly Stephen King. So let's just take you down here because this has probably the most potential of having one of those. So within 3 years, so pretty much anything in the 90s. Math's not my strong suit, but 95, 96, 97, 94, 93, something like that. Which, if I had to think, I think this was 2000. No, this is 2000s. We're gonna go with Bag of Bones. I feel like Bag of Bones had to have been in the 90s based on the cover. 98 counts, right? I think I just missed this depending on when this came out, but this is 1998. I'm close enough. 95, 98, I got it. The next prompt is, do you have a book with music as a weapon or magic? Maybe? I know there's a lot of significance to Fae language in here, and it's a big deal when Selena sings something. Is this cheating? I feel like you could also maybe do Lord of the Rings. They sing a lot there. It's not magical, but it really sets the mood. So maybe this one. This is the only one I can think of at the moment. Number 4, do you have a series with mismatched covers? No. I take that back. We're gonna cheat a little bit on this one as well. And I don't even know if these count as a series, but I have The Shining, which is the original paperback version, and then I have the sequel, Dr. Sleep, which is, I don't even know if this is the original cover, but this is a paperback. So if we're counting this as an actual series, then yes. I do, because I know even when I want to get the hardcover of Dr. Sleep because it's one of my favorites. Unpopular opinion, I know, but even when I get the hardcover of this, these are not going to match in tone whatsoever. Number 5 is, do you have a book with a shapeshifter? I have so many. The first one that comes to mind is It, but I'm gonna try and stay away from Stephen King for a while unless I get really stuck, because I have way too many and I want to highlight some other authors here. So kind of, I mean, this is very vague because I feel like a lot of books have shape-shifting, but they're not really shape-shifters. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter has some sort of shape-shifting magic where there are like gifted people, and with the help of sorceresses, they can like enlarge these soldiers. So like the soldiers are like twice the size as a normal human, and they get really bulky and monstrous in that way just for the duration of battle. So that's shape-shifting. This book does, I think, have a little bit more to do with shape-shifting, but I think anything else other than that I'd talk about would be spoilers. So there's a lot of magic going on in here. Question number 6 is, do you have a book signed by the author? And yes, I do. I'm actually gonna take you along with me because I have a feeling that I'm going to be using this bookshelf over here for the next couple of prompts. So this was the shape-shifting one, and then for books signed by the author, I have The Dragon Republic. I'm not lucky enough to have this personalized and signed. It's just one of those where you can buy them on Barnes & Noble, and it's like a book plate that gets bound into there. But it is signed, and I'd say this book is probably the book that I'm most excited that I have the author signature for. Okay, moving on. Question 7, do you have a book with a mostly red cover? Yes. I was actually just thinking about rainbow shelves and how I would love to have them, but it doesn't make sense because most of my books are like black or red with a little bit of blue thrown in there. So we're gonna go with Eldest by Christopher Paolini. These are still some of the best covers that I think are in the fantasy game. They're a little bit plain, sure, and they're very monochromatic, but just something about them, especially Aragon, when they first came out, really captured my attention as a kid, and you gotta love a fantasy book with dragons on the cover. Question number 8 is, do you have a book between 287 and 306 pages? And this comes to the part where I'm glad I'm not filming because I probably do, and I don't really feel like looking through all my books, so I'm just gonna grab a random one and see if it fits. This is a lot harder than I thought. I'm like not finding any. I know I said no more Stephen King, but this is the only one that I could find that was between those page numbers. So enjoyed this very floppy paperback of The Gunslinger. Question 9, do you have a book with a main character who wears glasses? Richie Tozier from It, but I'm trying not to use any more Stephen Kings. I think The Great Gatsby doesn't have like a character with glasses unless you're an English teacher, and then like that billboard, like the Dr. Eckelberg, there's like a billboard that if you've read this book for a high school English class, you'll have had to dissect. I believe that person has glasses. I feel like Nick Carraway would have glasses too. He just gives off those vibes. I know he doesn't in the movie version, and I don't know if it was said it in the book version, but I feel like he would, so. He just gives off those vibes, you know? Number 10, do you have a book with a title that has the same number of letters as your first name? So 6. Watch, this is gonna take entirely way too long. I feel like this is should be easier than it's gonna be for me. I got 2 options for this one. If we're not counting the, which I know people don't normally do when alphabetizing, The Hobbit is the same number, again, taking out the. We also have, if you're gonna be nitpicky, we also have Aragon, which is also 6. I really underestimated how bad my bookshelves were gonna look at the end of this because I've just thrown books everywhere at this point. Number 11, do you have a book with cybercrime and technology as a plot point? The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. It's about a smart house that some weird things are going on at. It's a thriller, so I don't want to give too much about it, but that is a pretty big plot point in here. Not so much cybercrime, but definitely technology, well, kind of cybercrime. Number 12. Do you have a book written in another language or translated to English? Yes, I do. Little Star by John Avide Lindquist was originally written in Swedish, I believe, and it's translated into English. Yes. This is a Swedish translated book, a really good horror book too if you haven't heard of this author. He writes really consistently good horror books. 13, do you have a book written by an Asian author? So yes, but I'm gonna try and find a different one real fast. So I went with Monstrous. This is a graphic novel series where both the illustrator and the writer are both Asian. 14, do you have a book with a moon on the cover? I surely do. It was staring me right in the face. There's a crescent moon right there. It's also called Crescent City, so that's kind of a 2 for the price of 1 there. Do you have an illustrated children's book? Kind of. I have a lot of graphic novels and comics, which I mean are for any age, but this is a witch graphic novel, which is a middle grade series. So I don't think that's what they mean by illustrated children's book. I think they mean like an illustrated version of a book that didn't normally have illustrations, but this is all I got for you. Highly recommend this, by the way. It has very Sailor Moon-esque vibes with a hint of Avatar: The Last Airbender sort of elemental magic. Number 16 is, do you have a collection of fairy tales or myths? And I do, and that is going to be classical mythology. It just has a bunch of classical Greek myths in it, so I guess I could have fit the prompt for the last one too. Do I have a sci-fi or a fantasy with an alliance between races that I haven't already talked about? Yes, I do. Actually, the Golden Compass series, most specifically the Amber Spyglass, is a fantasy series with at least in this book, a bunch of different races, or I guess creatures from other worlds coming together to form an alliance. So 18 is, do you have a book with a narrow front cover? And I'm gonna take you down to my bookshelf so you can actually see a little bit of book action and what I have to draw from, but I do. So we're gonna go with the Amityville Horror, which is like a mass market paperback, which is a lot smaller and narrower in shape than like a regular paperback or a regular hardcover. And you can see it sitting on there. It goes back a lot. So there is that one. Oh my gosh, two more to go. Do you have a book that includes the first chapter of a sequel? Teen Titans Raven by Cami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo. I don't think it's not like a chapter because it's a graphic novel, not split up into chapters, but it does have a special sneak preview of Beast Boy. And the last question, do you have a book with a broken spine? And I do. This is my very special set of thrifted, the whole Hobbit Lord of the Rings collection, and they're all pretty old, but the one that looks like it's been through the most would be The Two Towers, and that's a pretty broken spine. And there's the cover. It's not part of the question, but it's an absolutely amazing cover, so I just wanted to show it. And then we actually have one final question, and that is, do you have a book that covers 3 or more of the above prompts? So I can think of a lot of books that have 2 of them. The Dragon Republic might actually work. So let me see if it works for 3 of them. So this has a book signed by the author, so that's 1. It's written by an Asian author. Ugh. Doesn't count for 3 of them. Let's try the Poppy War. I feel like maybe the Poppy War, no. That doesn't have it either. Okay, so this book, oh wait. No. Oh yeah, this one does. Okay, so this has a shapeshifter in it, and it has an Asian author, so that's 2. Does Katai wear glasses? Katai might wear glasses. We'll put a pin on that. So it's definitely written by an Asian author, and it has a shapeshifter in here, and it's a mostly red cover? Question mark? Actually, Crescent City actually works because it has red on the cover, a lot of red on the cover. It has a moon, and then there's also alliances between different races, at least between angels and humans, so there we go. So there you have it, guys. That is my Do You Have That Other Book challenge. A little bit of a shit show, but it was fun. So the raw footage of this is like 25 minutes, so I'm gonna guess it took me about that long to do all the challenges. So I don't know if that's like a great time for the challenge. I mean, it's like a minute per question, and some of these were a lot harder than others, but I did have a good time with this challenge, so I hope you did as well. So if you enjoyed watching it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for more content. Stay safe, stay well, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye!